Let's start the discussions. My guest for the morning, Kofi Adams, is a member of the NDC. Currently, is the party's Deputy General Secretary. He wants to go down the ladder and contest perhaps a low position. And that's what he said. I didn't say that. And the position, of course, is the national organizer. But he has to contest the incumbent, Yiadom. Okay. Thanks for joining me, Kofi.
Thank you.
How was the weekend?
Very well.
How many delegates again are you meeting?
You would have to, at the constituency level, you are dealing with 2,750 because it's 10 per constituency. And at the regional level, you have about 11 to meet, so that makes it 110. And then all the national executives plus some few founding members who are still alive, the MPs, the DCs, and ministers of state.
It means they are that many, so
yeah,
you don't have to spend a lot of money. The wider the electoral college.
No matter the numbers, you still will have to spend because you have to buy fuel, you would have to print posters, track the country.
But you're always in Accra,
you would have to pay.
I'm not sure you go up and down the country.
You have to pay. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
How's it going so far? You look drained.
Of course, campaign is not easy.
It's stressful for you.
It's stressful. You would have to do a lot more than you normally will do because it's additional work to what you are already doing. So it cuts short your rest periods. You would move through terrains that you otherwise would not be moving through. You would have to be talking at every other meeting and so on and so forth. So it's campaigning period is a stressful period.
How is it for you that when you go to each media house, you have to be bombarded with questions as to how you're contesting your Boatinjan? I know it's mind-boggling.
Oh, I do that a lot. So for me, I really don't feel anything about it. When people say you are contesting somebody, I say, no, I'm contesting a party position. I'm not contesting the person because that position is not for him. It is a party position that per our constitution we design that for every 4 years we will elect somebody to occupy that position. It does not belong to anybody. The only position that is fixed is the founding father, who is His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, our former president, who founded the party. So that one is fixed. Nobody can take it away from him. All other positions are contested for. Then maybe when you elect a flag bearer or when your flag bearer wins to become a president, he becomes leader. And that one too, for that period, nobody contests. So that position is being contested. The party has declared a position vacant. So it means that nobody is occupying it. But as it is, the media, why are you contesting this person? The only answer I give is I'm not contesting anybody. I'm contesting a party position that has been.
Is it not logical that people keep asking, or many organizations in the media keep asking these questions because they feel that Boatinjan is a stalwart in the party and somebody, if you look at his figure and his stature, it will be difficult to contest against, especially when he's incumbent. I
don't think so. If that was my thinking, maybe I would not have gone into the contest. I don't think so at all. Okay. And the response from the delegates, including even Brongahafo over the weekend, where he was there and I wasn't, and what happened shows that people have made up their minds to vote for Kofi Adams, and I'm so confident and grateful to also the delegates and especially the ministers, the regional minister and other ministers and deputy ministers who were there, and the DCs and the party leadership, the way they comported and reacted to the negativity that was going on there. They have had a very peaceful constituency conferences and could not have been spoiled by the presence of Yahweh and his team at the regional level. So I'm so grateful.
Before I introduce my last question.
You're welcome.
So if you take a look at it in all its entirety, how difficult was it coming to that very conclusion you wanted to contest Boatinjan?
It wasn't difficult at all. I'm somebody who always assess the grounds before I take a step out. I don't just get up there and think that there are positions, and so just get out there and go and contest. So I assessed the situation, looked at the needs of the party, the weaknesses that exist, and asked myself questions like whether I can fit into this job, what I have done in the past, whether I'm prepared for it. Then I go, and anytime I go, I pick it.
Okay. My next guest is Philip Landry. He's a member of the NPP, and if you know, during the period when Alan Chiramanting for whom he was an aide to, was contesting Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo as well as Francis Adainimo. During that flag bearership contest, he was always here, giving us a lot more information on the subject. Now you're relieved now, you're just a paid member of the party. Okay, how was your weekend?
Oh, that's fine, thank you.
You think it's a good thing that he's contesting?
Oh, yes, I think it's good. And I must say that I really appreciate the answers he's given to the questions, honestly. You know, I tell you, NDC, for me personally, hasn't appeared to me as a very democratic party over the years. But the truth is that NDC is actually, you know, changing, getting there. And his response to why he's contesting Yabachinjan, I really appreciate. You know, he's contesting the office. Irrespective of what anybody thinks about Yabachinjan, he's going for the office, he's determined for it. I really appreciate that. Yabachinjan, when I met him the first time, I was very happy with him. I said, and you see, his own countenance as compared to what many of the NDC executives were, I really appreciated that. That was so many years ago. Today, Kofi is contesting. And honestly, I wish him well. I wish Kofi well.
Kofi, we wish you well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, let's start with what has been happening in Parliament. And
a lot has been happening.
Okay, a lot has been happening.
And so which one?
Okay. The one about when the president is out of the country, as alongside his vice, who should be sworn into office? That is logically the speaker. How many times he should be sworn into office? And the whole debate that seemed to have surrounded this whole issue.
Well, you know, the first of all, good morning, also good morning to our viewers. The debate is centering on whether it is constitutional for the swearing in to take place again or take place every time there is that peculiar vacancy where the president and his vice are out of the country. We have seen in the previous years during our constitutional era where from Justice Annan, anytime the president and the vice were absent, the speaker would be sworn in to act for that short duration that the two were out of the jurisdiction. We saw how at odd hours of the night, just to arrive, satisfy that constitutional provision, we've seen speakers. I remember the late Peter Lajete at one time, at a very odd hour of the day, had to be sworn in, And we have, as a country, accepted that. I believe that if anybody suddenly feels that that is the wrong method and that it is not required, I believe that even the management of that process should have been very well taken care of. The way it has gone, frankly, I'm not happy. Some people generally feel that, no, we don't have to do it, so I won't do it again. It happened the first day. The second day, we heard that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, actually went to the House of Parliament. The expectation was that she was going to do the swearing in. It didn't happen again. And now people are very worried. You see, that marks of a certain, would it be, I don't want to use the word arrogance, but that is how it is. Of whoever, I mean, whether it's a speaker, that, oh, I feel I don't have to do it again, so I won't do it. Meanwhile, everybody expects, we've heard all the arguments. So just to make everybody happy, why don't you just go through that process that we've always gone through and then find the proper process, that is the Supreme Court, to make a determination on the matter. But for the action that was taken, especially when there was a second attempt, and that attempt also failed, or that attempt didn't happen, it doesn't send the right political signals into the system. And that's why you're having all these agitations and stuff. And I think as politicians, we all have to be very careful. Because when we do these things, the electorate out there begin to lose faith in us. So are you trying to say that this thing that you're all doing all this time was not correct? Are you saying that all this, you see, when we do that, it sends a certain signal down there that is not helpful. Already, there's a certain despondence that is creeping into the political establishment. I mean, one party was in power, the other opposition condemned them so badly. The next party comes to power, people see what is going on, the opposition are condemning them.
But as far as this is concerned, it's not been a political issue.
Well,
it's more been an interpretation of the Constitution.
I agree. It is purely a constitutional matter, but it's political because it involves the House of the House, the House of Parliament.
You see, that is what gives it a political connotation. Yes, it is not NDC, MPP, no. But it's a governance and political matter, you see. So that's why I'm saying that we should be very careful in the way we handle it. Yes, people might have good reason why they think it should not be done again. Others may also have good reason why they think it should be done again. It is how we manage that that is the issue for me. I believe that in managing it well, nothing stops them from just going ahead with it. And then we go to the Supreme Court to get a proper interpretation. Then everybody's at peace. Everybody knows, okay, this is how we should go. And then we all go with it.
Mm. In many respects, Kofi, if you keep swearing in, many of the legal luminaries seem to think that you're just satisfying the Constitution. But in other arguments, you're also told, well, why waste time when you can also add a lot more reason to whatever the Constitution is and how it's been interpreted?
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. I seriously think that we design the Constitution to be interpreted from time to time depending on what comes up. In the first Parliament of this Fourth Republic, His Excellency the President used to open Parliament and close it. That was what used to happen for the first two Parliaments of the Fourth Republic. Then in 2001, after late Peter Lajete became the Speaker, he also sought to interpret the Constitution differently, that he as Speaker was the one that had the right to open Parliament, and that the President was only to come and give his State of the Nation address and also close Parliament in his fourth year. That has been carried up to this point. Nobody said that because in the past, the first two Parliaments, the President was the one that was opening Parliament. So, and we had accepted it. That should carry on. For me, that is how constitutions work, is for interpretation. According to the information that we got, the Chief Justice, the Speaker, plus the leadership of the House came to a conclusion that the redesign oath that was taken by the Speaker in September of 2013 satisfy that condition, and that he needs not take another one. That is the interpretation and the understanding that is pending now. If there are people who disagree, the only place to go, the constitutional, legally mandated floor to go now, is Supreme Court for interpretation. It is what until that happens, the decision by the Speaker, the leadership of the House, and the Chief Justice that the oath taken on the 13th or so of September in 2013 stands. It's legal, it's binding for now. That the Speaker need not take another oath when the President and the Vice President are outside of this country for him to act. So if anybody has any issue with it, for me, the place to go is the Supreme Court for interpretation. And once the Supreme Court interprets that no, the Speaker must take oath every other time that the President and the Vice President are outside of this country and can therefore not be physically present to function as presidents within the boundaries of this country, the Speaker will have no alternative but to take that oath any other time that they are out. I also feel, looking at it from economic point of view, I don't know whether the Speaker has to take oath in the presence of Parliament. Assuming he can take it anywhere, if that is not the case and it has to be done in the presence of a Parliament, I think it has to. Because I remember when late Peter Lajete has to be sworn in, they call Parliament late into the night to swear him in. It meaning that this current interpretation really saves the country a lot of money. Because assuming that the President has to travel in the absence of the Vice President on a day that Parliament is not sitting, means we have to call Parliament to come and have emergency sitting. The cost to it, because they don't come for sitting when you call them like that for free. It is additional cost. So if this interpretation works, that the Speaker can take only one oath, and that oath holds any time the President and the Vice are not in the country and he is the one present, he can just step in and act. For me, it helps us a lot. We don't have to be calling Parliament back from wherever they are, that come back, we have to swear a speaker in and so on, because the president will have to perform duties, the vice president will have to perform duties. There will be occasions when the two will not be in the country. Will we continue to be calling 275 members of parliament, pay their allowances and TNT and everything and the refreshment for just that function to be performed? If it were to have been a weekend, a Sunday or a Saturday, how are we going to go about it? So I think that people who have concerns, there's a design place for us per the Constitution, Supreme Court. Go and seek interpretation. And once they make that pronouncement, already the president of the Supreme Court is part of those who have agreed to the fact that the redesign of that the speaker took some time ago should suffix, except for possibly other interpretation that is coming up. So let's try our Constitution. Let's go to the Supreme Court and then let's hear what the justices will say. They understand the law better. They have been put there to interpret the Constitution. And once they say it, we work with that.
So all that we're saying comes to naught?
No, but you see, there's a small point there which makes all the difference. I appreciate the point. If that was the case, then why did her ladyship have to go back again a second time?
That is if they had agreed initially.
Because that was what we had all been told, that it was a consensus decision where all these persons were there, the speaker, the chief justice.
So your interpretation is what?
So
from all the events that happened, you conclude.
That is where I have the difficulty.
You conclude that perhaps the speaker, the chief justice was not in agreement.
I'm not saying so. I cannot say, and I will not say that. That is not what I'm saying.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that we have been told that there was an agreement
initially,
and it had been settled.
The first time.
It had been settled.
Then 2 days later.
Then it happened again. You see, so the fact for me that it happened again tells you that there was still something.
I mean,
as to who or what, I cannot say, and I will not attempt to say, because I don't know the facts. You see, so all I'm saying that situation, I wish it had been managed a little better. Otherwise, all this brouhaha we are getting now will not have occurred. That's all.
Okay, so now you advocating we go to the Supreme Court, Kofi.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's a platform that you can go for interpretation. Other than that, all we are doing, we will be doing the talking, and then we'll be doing the talking, and then this will continue on. The next time the president and the vice are not in, the speaker will say, "Oh, we have already agreed. I have a standing oath for ceremonial purposes." So it carries on. Our talk will result. Sometimes will even create much more problems for us. So the platform to go is, for me, is the Supreme Court.